September 3rd, 1947. Dawn broke cold over the East River. Thomas Wright was hauling rope on Pier 47 when he saw something pale floating between the pilings. At first, he thought it was trash, but when he reached down with his gaff hook, he saw the hand. Small, delicate. A girl. She looked maybe 17. Negro. Wearing a simple cotton dress. No shoes, no jewelry. Eyes open, staring at nothing. The NYPD arrived 20 minutes later. Detective Morris Halloran took one look and said 4 words. Suicide. Write it up. By 7:15, the body was tagged Jane Doe. By 8 o'clock, the case was closed. But Thomas had a daughter the same age. Before the medical examiner arrived, he slipped his hand into the girl's pocket and pulled out a small notebook. Waterlogged but readable, he tucked it inside his coat. That night, he dried the pages, read every word, and wept. The next day, he took it to the only man in Harlem who might care. Bumpy Johnson. September 5th, 9 p.m. Small's Paradise went silent when Constance Carter walked through the door. A woman in mourning clothes entering Harlem's most notorious bar wasn't just unusual, it was dangerous. But Constance Carter didn't care anymore. Her daughter was dead. Everyone who was supposed to protect her had failed. She walked straight to Bumpy Johnson's corner table and placed the water-stained notebook between them. Bumpy was 42 that September, sharp 3-piece suit, fedora tilted just right, eyes that had seen everything. He'd been expecting her. "Mr. Johnson," Constance said, voice steady despite tears she refused to shed. "My daughter Grace is dead. Police say suicide. I know that's a lie, and you're the only man in Harlem who might give a damn." Bumpy opened the notebook. The pages were warped from river water, but the handwriting was clear. Young, frightened. He read the last entry. August 28th. "Officer Marconi came again today. Mama was at work. He knows about the baby now. He got so angry, said I was trying to trap him, said no one would believe me. He said if I tell, he'll kill Mama too. I'm so scared. God, please help me." 6 days later, Grace Carter's body was pulled from the East River. Bumpy closed the notebook slowly. His expression didn't change, but his knuckles went white around his glass. "Officer Vincent Marconi," he said quietly. "Badge number 8743, 29 years old, son of Carlo Marconi, underboss of the Genovese family, lives in Little Italy." Constance stared. "You already know who killed my daughter. I know who raped her, who threatened her, who probably killed her. What I don't know yet is who helped him cover it up." He looked at her, really looked at her. "What do you want me to do?" "I want justice. Justice or revenge. I want him to suffer. I want him to know what it feels like to be powerless. And I want the world to know he's a monster." Bumpy pulled an envelope from his jacket. $500. "For funeral expenses, and for you, go home, lock your doors. Don't talk to police, don't talk to neighbors. If anyone asks, you've accepted the suicide ruling. Can you do that?" "Yes." "Good. I'll contact you in 3 days." After she left Illinois, Gordon, Bumpy's right hand, leaned against the table. "Boss, you know what you're getting into? Carlo Marconi's not gonna let this go quiet. I'm counting on it." Bumpy stood. "Get me everything on Vincent Marconi, every case, every arrest, every complaint. I want to know who this man really is." "Already started." Illinois dropped a thick folder on the table. "You're gonna want to sit down for this." September 6th, 2 a.m. Illinois returned with a woman in a nurse's uniform, Clara Johnson. Nervous, clutching a small leather bag. "I need your word this won't get back to police," Clara said, "because what I'm about to tell you could get people killed." Bumpy gestured to the chair. "You have it." Clara took a breath. "Grace Carter didn't drown in the East River." Silence. 3 nights ago, September 2nd, a girl was brought into Harlem Hospital, late teens, soaking wet, barely breathing. Dr. Samuel Pierce stabilized her, got the water out of her lungs, brought her back. When she was stable, he moved her to a safe house in the Bronx. Bumpy leaned forward. "Where is she now?" "Alive, hidden. The body they pulled from the river, a Jane Doe from the morgue. Someone Marconi and his friends dressed up and dumped to close the case." She pulled out a photograph. Grace Carter, in a hospital bed, awake, looking at the camera. Bumpy stared at it. Jesus Christ! She wants to see her mother, but if Marconi finds out she's alive, he'll finish the job. Bumpy stood, walked to the window. "Don't tell Constance yet. If she knows, she won't be able to hide it. But I need Grace to write down everything, every assault, every threat, dates, times, details, 24 hours." After Clara left, Illinois spoke quietly. "This changes everything. Yes, Marconi didn't just rape her. He tried to murder her. And he's connected enough to fake a death and close a case in 4 hours." Bumpy turned back. "Which means this goes higher than one cop. Let's find out how high." Illinois opened the folder. Inside were photographs, police reports, hospital records. 4 other girls, he said, that we know of. Sarah Monroe, 15, disappeared July 45. Mother tried to file a complaint 3 days before. Complaint dismissed. Sarah vanished. Never found. Angela Washington, 17, assaulted March 46. Mother filed formal complaint. 1 week later, mother arrested on planted drug charges. 3 years prison. Angela sent to Georgia. Maria Garcia, 16, pregnant November 46. Told her priest. 2 weeks later, disappeared. Body found in Hudson River, January 48. Denise Taylor, 19, assaulted, reported. Internal Affairs closed case in 48 hours. Insufficient evidence. Denise moved to Chicago. Won't talk about New York. Bumpy spread the documents across his desk. 5 girls. 5 black and brown girls. Ages 15 to 19. All failed by the same system. There's more. Illinois pulled out one more document. Yellowed. Aged. A complaint from 1932. Assault during traffic stop, filed by Mamie Hatcher. Officer's name, V. Marconi. Bumpy went very still. Mamie Hatcher, your Mamie, your wife, 15 years of marriage, and she'd never told him. But now it made sense. Why she'd left New York for 6 months in 33. Why she'd never wanted to talk about that year. In 1932, Illinois said carefully, Vincent Marconi was 14 years old. Bumpy's jaw clenched. It was his father, Carlo Marconi. He was NYPD before he went into organized crime. Father teaches son. Jesus Christ. Bumpy walked back to the window. This isn't about one corrupt cop. This is 15 years, maybe more, of monsters hiding behind badges, protected by a system that doesn't care about women who look like Grace, like Sarah, like Maria, like Mamie. So what do? We make Vincent Marconi confess to every single thing he's done. And then we make sure the world hears it so loud they can't pretend they didn't. How? Bumpy smiled coldly. First, we need to have a conversation with his father. September 11th, 9 a.m. Bumpy Johnson walking into Cafe Paradiso in Little Italy was either the bravest or stupidest thing he'd ever done. Every hand went to a gun when he entered. Carlo Marconi raised one finger. The hands stopped. Mr. Johnson. Carlo's English was perfect despite his thick accent. You walk into my territory uninvited. You are either very brave, very stupid, or bringing information I need. Which is it? The third. Bumpy sat without being invited. Your son is a problem. The temperature dropped. Careful, Carlo said softly. 5 girls, ages 15 to 19, all assaulted by Vincent over 3 years. 2 dead, 2 missing, 1 in hiding. Bumpy placed a folder on the table. I have evidence, statements, medical records, witnesses. You accuse my son? I'm stating facts. Bumpy opened the folder. Look or don't, but understand. I'm giving you a choice. Stand with your son and watch your family go down when this goes public, or step aside. Carlo stared for a long moment, then opened the folder. For 10 minutes, the only sound was pages turning. Carlo's face remained impassive, but his hands began to shake. When he finished, he pushed it back. Where did you get this? From the families your son destroyed. From priests he threatened. From doctors who treated his victims. If these are true, they're true, and you know it, because this isn't the first time. Bumpy leaned forward. 1932. A woman named Mamie Hatcher filed a complaint against V. Marconi. Your son was 14 then. That wasn't Vincent. That was you. Every man in the cafe tensed. Carlo stared with eyes that could melt steel. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. You should leave. Now. I'll leave. But first, you make a choice. Tonight. 3 a.m., Palisades Cliffs. Your son meets me there, alone. He confesses. I record it. Then I turn him over to the FBI. You're insane. Maybe. But if you interfere, I go to every newspaper in America. The name Marconi becomes synonymous with predator. Your businesses suffer. Your legacy becomes child rapist and murderer. Or you tell Vincent to go. You stay out of it. And the 1932 complaint stays buried. Why would you bury it? For Mamie, not for you. Carlo sat in silence so long, Bumpy thought he might die right there. His hands trembled as he closed his eyes. For 15 years I protected him, Carlo said quietly. Told myself it was because family is everything, that blood comes first, but I was wrong. I taught him that some people don't matter, that badges and money can bury any sin. I created this monster. His voice cracked. Now I must let him face what he's done. He opened his eyes. If I do this, you will owe me. Understand? One day I will call in that debt. I understand. And the 32 complaint never surfaces. Not in court, not in newspapers. Nowhere. Agreed. Vincent will be at Palisades Cliffs, alone. You have 3 hours. After that, if my son isn't back, I send my men, and you die." Bumpy stood and walked out alive. Behind him, Carlo whispered to his lieutenant, "Vincent è un problema che deve scomparire. A problem that must disappear." September 10th. Vincent Marconi woke up feeling good. Grace Carter was dead. Case closed. Life was normal. He opened his front door. An envelope lay on the doormat. Inside, a photograph. Grace Carter, smiling, holding a birthday cake. No note. He threw it away. Probably a memorial thing. At noon, another envelope at the precinct. Inside, a pregnancy test. Positive. No note. His hands started shaking. At 6 p.m., his wife Maria was crying. "Vincent, what is this?" A morgue photo. Grace, dead. And a note. "She wasn't the first. Where did you get that?" "Under our door, Vincent. Who is this girl?" "I don't know. Some sick joke. Just throw it away." Maria stared at her husband. For the first time, she looked afraid. Not of the photo. Of him. That night, Vincent couldn't sleep. At 3 a.m., the phone rang. "Vincent Marconi, we need to talk." "Who is this?" "You killed Grace Carter, raped her 6 times, got her pregnant, drowned her. I have her diary, medical records, 4 other girls, and photographs of you entering her building." Vincent's blood turned to ice. "This is extortion. Tomorrow night, 3 a.m., Palisades Cliffs. Come alone, or I send everything to the FBI. Who are you?" "Don't be late." The line went dead. Vincent called his father. Carlo said 5 words that shattered his world. "Go to the meeting. You're alone." September 11th, 2:45 a.m. Vincent sat in his car outside his apartment, hands gripping the wheel. His father had abandoned him. His wife looked at him with fear. He was alone. He thought about running. Canada, Mexico, disappear forever. But if someone had this much evidence, running would only make it worse. He started the engine and drove toward New Jersey. The drive took 40 minutes. His mind raced the entire way. Who could have talked? How did they get evidence? Unless Grace had kept a diary. Something hidden. But Grace was dead. He'd watched police pull her body from the river. So who the hell was doing this? At 3:17 a.m., he pulled up to Palisades Cliffs. Fog so thick he could barely see. His headlights cut through gray. He stepped out, hand on his service revolver. "You came." Vincent spun. A man stood 50 feet away. Negro, middle-aged, sharp suit. Alone, no gun visible. "Who are you?" "Ellsworth Johnson. People call me Bumpy. We're going to talk about Grace Carter." Grace Carter committed suicide. Walk to the edge of the cliff. "What?" "You heard me. Walk to the edge." "I'm not." 3 seconds. 1. Vincent took a shaky step. 2. Another step. Fog was so thick he couldn't see where ground ended. 3. He walked forward. Too fast. Foot hit loose gravel. The ground gave way. Vincent fell. His hands shot out desperately. Caught the edge. His fingers dug into stone. Bleeding. His legs kicked at nothing but fog and 400 feet of darkness. "Help!" he screamed. "Help me!" Bumpy walked slowly to the edge. Looked down. "Please," Vincent whispered. "Please pull me up." Bumpy knelt, close enough that Vincent could see his eyes. You know what Grace said when you held her head underwater? She said, please, just like you. And you held her down anyway. She's dead. What do you want? Bumpy smiled. That's where you're wrong, Vincent. From behind Bumpy, a figure stepped forward through fog. Illinois had brought her from the Bronx that night, hidden in Bumpy's car, waiting for this exact moment. Young, female, Negro, simple dress. Grace Carter. Alive. Vincent's scream echoed across the cliffs. No, 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 you're dead. I watched them pull your body from the river. Grace knelt beside Bumpy, looking down at him. You saw a body, she said quietly. But it wasn't mine. Someone saved me. A doctor who cared more about right than wrong. And now I'm here to watch you tell the truth. Vincent hyperventilated, his fingers slipping. How this isn't real. Grace's voice was hard. I'm very real, and I remember everything. Every time you came when Mama was at work, every threat, every assault, every time you said no one would believe me. Bumpy extended his hand toward Vincent, just within reach. Here's how this works. I'll give you the same choice you gave Grace. Confess everything, every girl, every detail, and I pull you up. Stay silent, and gravity does its job. You can't just let me die. Can't I? That's exactly what you did to 5 girls. So yes, I can. Unless you confess. Right now. Out loud. Vincent looked down. 400 feet. Rocks, water. Looked at Grace. Her face calm. Resolved. If you don't confess, she said, I'll watch you fall. And feel nothing. Because you took everything from me. My innocence, my baby, my future. So if you die here, I'll feel exactly what you felt when you tried to kill me. What? Nothing. His fingers gave out. 10 seconds left. His survival instinct overpowered shame. Grace Carter, he screamed. I raped Grace Carter, June through September 47, 6 times. I got her pregnant. She told me about the baby in late August. I told her to meet me at the pier, September 2nd, midnight. Keep going. I grabbed her, pushed her in the water, held her head under. She fought. God, she fought so hard. But I held her down until she stopped moving. My father taught me women like her didn't matter. That badges meant we could do anything. I believed him. God help me. I believed him. And the others? More? Keep going. Maria Garcia, November 46, 16. She got pregnant. Told her priest. I told her I'd help her. Took her to the docks. I pushed her in the water, weighted her down. She drowned. And Denise Taylor, 1945. She was 19. I raped her. She reported me. I got internal affairs to close the case. Insufficient evidence. 5 girls total. I did it. I did all of it. Please, please, pull me up. His confession echoed across cliffs. Silence. Fog. Distant water far below. Bumpy grabbed his wrist, pulled him up, slowly, deliberately, until Vincent lay on solid ground, gasping, sobbing, shaking. Bumpy stood over him, pulled a tape recorder from his jacket. Stop, rewind, play. Vincent's voice filled the night. I raped Grace Carter, held her head under, pushed Maria Garcia in the water, 5 girls. I did all of it. Vincent stared at the recorder in absolute horror. You confessed, Bumpy said quietly. Just like I promised you could. Now let's see if the law gives a damn. but headlights cut through fog, a car skidding to a stop. Bumpy tensed. This wasn't part of the plan. Detective Morris Halloran stepped out. Gun drawn. Well, well, Halloran smiled coldly. Just in time. Halloran, Vincent gasped with relief. Thank God, this man kidnapped me, tried to kill me. Shut up, Vincent. Halloran pointed his gun at Bumpy. Hand over the tape. Bumpy didn't move. So you're the one covering for him all these years? Bumpy smiled calmly. Yeah, you should have checked the tree line. Halloran frowned. What? I said check the tree line, because I didn't come alone. From darkness beyond the headlights, Illinois Gordon stepped out, 6 armed men with him. But that's not what made Halloran freeze. Behind Illinois stood a man in a dark suit, FBI badge on his belt. Special Agent James Carter. Detective Morris Halloran, Agent Carter said calmly, pulling his own gun. You're under arrest for obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, accessory to murder, and about a dozen other charges we'll figure out downtown. Halloran's face went white. You don't have jurisdiction. Actually, I do. Federal case as of 3 days ago when we received an anonymous tip about corrupt NYPD detectives covering up multiple murders. When you left your precinct tonight, we followed you here, and we've recorded everything you just said. Agent Carter held up his own tape recorder, playing. Halloran's voice. I've covered for the Marconi family 20 years. His father did the same when he was NYPD. I buried those complaints, made good money. Drop your weapon. For one terrible moment, Halloran considered shooting anyway, going out in a blaze rather than facing what was coming. But Illinois, Gordon and his 6 men all had guns trained on him. 7-1. Halloran dropped his weapon. 2 FBI agents emerged from the fog and cuffed him. Agent Carter turned to Vincent, who was still on the ground, shaking. Officer Vincent Marconi, you're also under arrest. Rape, assault, attempted murder, murder in the 1st degree. And that's just to start. 2 more agents cuffed Vincent and pulled him to his feet. Agent Carter looked at Bumpy, extended his hand. Mr. Johnson, I assume you have the recording? Bumpy handed over the tape recorder. Full confession, 5 victims, names, dates, details, and the witness who was supposed to be dead. Grace stepped forward, no longer hiding. I'm Grace Carter. I'm alive, and I'm ready to testify to everything he did to me. Agent Carter nodded. Good. We're going to need full statements from all of you. This is going to be a very long night. He turned to his agents. Get them out of here and make sure the press gets a full statement by morning. I want this on every front page in New York. As the FBI led Marconi and Halloran away, Bumpy turned to Grace. Ready to go home? She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Can I see my mother now? Let's bring you home. September 11th, 6:30 a.m. Constance Carter opened her apartment door to a knock she wasn't expecting. The sun was just rising, painting Harlem in shades of gold and amber. Bumpy Johnson stood on her doorstep, and beside him, alive and whole and real, was Grace. For a moment, Constance just stared. Her mind couldn't process what her eyes were seeing. Grace was dead. She'd identified a body at the morgue. She'd buried her daughter 3 days ago. But Grace was standing right there, thinner than before, bruises fading on her arms, but alive. breathing. Real. "Mama," Grace whispered. Constance's legs gave out. She collapsed to her knees right there in the doorway, a sound coming from her throat that was half sob, half scream. Grace ran to her mother, and they collided in an embrace so fierce it seemed like they were trying to merge into one person. Both of them were crying, shaking, holding each other like they might disappear if they let go. "My baby," Constance kept saying. "My baby, my baby, my baby. I'm here, Mama. I'm here. I'm alive." Bumpy quietly stepped back and closed the door, giving them privacy. Illinois was waiting by the stairs. "That was good, boss. It's not over. Marconi and Halloran are in custody, but there are others. The captain, the medical examiner, the uniforms who planted drugs. This goes deeper than 2 corrupt cops. Agent Carter says FBI's opening a full investigation. Good, but we're not done either." Bumpy pulled out a list. 12 other families who filed complaints that were buried. We're finding them, getting their stories, making sure the FBI hears everyone. December 15th, 1947. The trial was the biggest story New York had seen in years. Grace testified for 4 hours, calm, clear, unshakable. She described what Vincent Marconi had done to her, every assault, every threat, every moment of terror. She looked Vincent in the eye the entire time. He couldn't look back. The families testified. Sarah Monroe's mother, Angela Washington's mother, brought from prison. Father Rodriguez, wheeled in from his hospital bed, told the story of Maria Garcia. Denise Taylor flew in from Chicago. Dr. Samuel Pierce testified about treating Grace, about finding evidence of repeated trauma, about the decision to hide her to save her life. Then the prosecution played the tape. Vincent Marconi's voice filled the courtroom. "I raped Grace Carter 6 times. I got her pregnant, held her head underwater until she stopped fighting. Sarah Monroe, Angela Washington, Maria Garcia, Denise Taylor, 5 girls. I did it all." The courtroom was silent when it finished. The defense tried to argue coercion. The judge ruled that Vincent Marconi had chosen to speak to save his own life, and that didn't make the confession false. The jury deliberated 38 minutes. Guilty. All counts. Vincent Marconi was sentenced to death by electric chair. Morris Halloran was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Captain Wesley Moore resigned and was later convicted of obstruction. The medical examiner was arrested as an accessory. 17 NYPD officers total were arrested, fired, or forced to resign. The NYPD announced sweeping reforms, new procedures for investigating officer misconduct, independent oversight, protections for victims. 6 months later, most of those reforms were quietly rolled back. But for a moment, justice had won. April 2nd, 1949, 11 o'clock at night, Sing Sing Prison. Vincent Marconi was led to the execution chamber wearing prison whites, hands cuffed. He'd spent 18 months on death row. All appeals exhausted. Nothing left but this. In the viewing room sat Grace Carter, now 19. Beside her, Constance. Behind them, the mothers of Sarah, Angela, and Maria. The guards strapped Vincent into the electric chair. The warden stepped forward. "Vincent Marconi, you have been sentenced to death. Do you have any final words?" There was a long silence. Then Vincent's voice muffled. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did. To Grace, to Maria, to Sarah, Angela, Denise, to their families. I'm a monster, and I deserve this. The warden nodded. The switch was thrown. Vincent's body convulsed. Once, twice, 3 times. Then still. Time of death, 11:07. Grace sat there, staring. She'd expected to feel something. Relief. Closure. Justice. Instead, she just felt empty. Her mother took her hand. "Is it over?" Grace took a breath. "Yeah, Mama, it's over." September 1968, 21 years later. Bumpy Johnson sat at Small's Paradise, 63 years old, tired. His heart had been giving him trouble. A young woman approached his table, early 20s, well-dressed, educated. "Mr. Johnson, I'm Angela Williams. My mother was Grace Carter." Something softened in Bumpy's eyes. "Grace? How is she?" "She's wonderful, married to a teacher named James Williams. They have 2 children, my little brother Marcus and me." "What do you do, Angela?" "I just passed the bar exam, starting at the Manhattan DA's office in January, Sex Crimes Unit. I'm going to prosecute men who do what Vincent Marconi did." She opened her briefcase. "Mama wanted me to give you this. She said she's been meaning to write it for 20 years. Bumpy took the envelope, opened it. Grace's handwriting. "Dear Mr. Johnson, 21 years ago, you gave me justice when the law wouldn't. You gave me my voice when everyone wanted me silent. You gave me my life back. I wanted you to know what I've done with that gift. I became a social worker in 1952. I've helped 63 women escape abusive situations. I've testified in 11 trials. I've trained 200 social workers. I got married in 55 to a man who knows everything and loves me anyway. We have 2 children growing up in a world that's slowly starting to believe women. I'm not completely healed. I still have nightmares. I still flinch at police cars. But I'm alive. I'm fighting. And I'm making sure other women get the justice I got. You taught me that justice isn't revenge. It's truth. It's making monsters face consequences. You pulled Vincent back from that cliff. You could have let him fall. But you made him confess. You made him face what he'd done. That's real justice. Thank you for everything. Grace Carter Williams." Bumpy folded the letter slowly, hands trembling. His eyes were wet. "Mama also wanted me to tell you something else. She named her son after you, Marcus Ellsworth Williams. We call him Eli." Bumpy couldn't speak for a moment. Finally, "Tell your mother she did good, better than good. She turned her pain into purpose. That's the bravest thing anyone can do." "I will, Mr. Johnson. And Angela, when you start at the DA's office, remember something. Justice isn't what makes us feel better. It's what the victims deserve. Keep fighting for them." "I promise." Bumpy Johnson died 7 days later, September 10th, 1968. Heart attack, quick, relatively painless. His funeral at Abyssinian Baptist Church was packed. When the pastor asked if anyone wanted to speak, Angela Williams stood up. She told the story, the cliff, the confession, the trial, the legacy. "People will remember Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson for many things," Angela said. "They'll remember him as a gangster, as a criminal, as a man who broke the law more times than anyone could count. But I'll remember him as the man who taught me what real justice looks like. Justice isn't perfect. It isn't pretty. It doesn't fix everything that's broken. But justice is real. Justice is truth spoken out loud. Justice is consequences that can't be bought or buried. Justice is extending your hand to a monster, not to save him, but to make him face what he's done. My mother is alive today because of Bumpy Johnson. And because she's alive, I'm alive. And I'm going to spend my life fighting for other women who deserve the same justice she got. That's his legacy. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for everything. The congregation stood and applauded. In Harlem, they still tell the story of the cop who hung from a cliff and confessed to 5 murders, of the gangster who recorded it all and handed him over to justice, of the girl who everyone thought was dead but came back to testify and win. They call it the Cliff, and every year, on September 11th, Grace Carter Williams takes her children to Palisades Cliffs. They stand at the edge, safely back from it, and she tells them the story about the night justice hung by its fingertips, about the man who extended his hand, and about the choice between revenge and accountability. A bad man tried to kill me here, Grace tells her children, but a good man, a complicated, flawed, criminal good man, he saved me, not by killing the bad man, but by making him tell the truth. Why didn't he just let him fall? Young Eli asks. Grace smiles. Because justice isn't about what makes us feel better, baby. It's about what the victims deserve. I deserved to have my story heard. I deserved to watch Vincent Marconi face consequences. I deserved truth, not revenge. Did it make you feel better when he died? No, but it made me feel like I mattered, like what happened to me mattered, like the world was listening. She takes her children's hands. That's what Bumpy Johnson gave me, a voice, and I've spent my whole life making sure other women get theirs. In 2004, the New York Police Department issued a formal apology for the handling of sexual assault cases in the 1940s and 50s. They specifically mentioned the Grace Carter case. In 2010, the Manhattan DA's office created the Grace Carter Fellowship, a program to train prosecutors specializing in sex crimes. In 2015, Angela Williams was appointed to the New York State Supreme Court. Grace Carter Williams died in 2023 at the age of 93, surrounded by her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Her last words were, "Tell them the truth. Always tell the truth." At her funeral, her great-granddaughter, age 17, the same age Grace had been, stood to speak. "My great-grandmother taught me that trauma doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. She was assaulted, threatened, nearly murdered. And she turned that pain into a lifetime of helping others. She taught me that justice is a choice. Every day we choose whether to demand accountability or accept silence, whether to speak truth or swallow lies. Great-Grandma Grace chose justice every single day for 76 years. That's her legacy, and that's what I'm going to carry forward. Justice isn't what we take from our enemies. It's what we give to those who can't take it for themselves. It's truth spoken loud enough that the world has to listen. It's consequences that can't be bought, buried, or forgotten. And it's the choice, every single day, to demand better from the world, even when the world demands nothing from us. Grace Carter Williams, 1928 to 2023. I really want to know, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments. This story has reached readers on every continent, and I'm always amazed by how far these legends travel. Drop a comment, share this story. Let's talk about it. See you in the next one.